You're listening to a Galactic Network podcast. For more, go to gncast.com.
We're the ElseNerds.
Welcome to ElseNerds, a production of Galactic Network. I'm Gregor Sprague, and joining me is guest host Shawn Burns. Shawn, how you doing, sir?
Doing great. How are you?
Doing pretty good. For all info on the show, including show notes and subscription links, go to ElseNerds.com. And for other Galactic Network programs, go to gncasts.com. And on ElseNerds, we tend to shoot our mouths off without thinking, so we will both spoil things and swear liberally. You have been warned. So we are also joined by the person who I like pointing out people's firsts on our show because, it's fun, first. So he is our first ElseNerds Galactic Network Patreon exclusive that we've had. And that is Mr. Peter Fisher. He joined me a couple days ago and we talked all about the Wonder Woman movie and all that, and that was a Patreon exclusive, unless I messed it up and put the audio out for everyone as well, which, hey, happy accident. Peter, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. A little bit rainy and windy here today, but other than that, it's good.
Sorry I sent that your way.
Yeah, knocked down a couple trees around town, and luckily we still have power, so
yeah, that's definitely good. Yeah. So let's jump into the news. And for those of you guys who are wondering where Corey is at, he is on assignment. That's code for he went upstate or something. I have no idea what.
Corey went to the big house?
I was going to say.
No, Corey is this week is just really busy for him with work and Podcast of Terror recorded on Monday, so we would have had to push ElseNerds back a day anyways, and then he had a thing on Tuesday, and then he had a thing on Wednesday, and I'm busy on Thursday nights, so surprise. It's actually back to one of the original time slots that the ElseNerds had way back in the Spreecast days. But let's get into the news, and the first news story is that Stranger Things star Charlie Heaton is in talks to join the X-Men spinoff New Mutants. Now, this is also tied in with the fact that they already have Anya Taylor-Joy and Maisie Williams already signed on for the New Mutants project. And also the other one that sort of a combo story here is that there are going to be 3 X-Men movies next year, or movies in the X-Men universe with Deadpool #2, then you have Dark Phoenix and New Mutants coming out. So this is really cool. And for those guys who do not know, I wish I remembered what he played in New Mutants, but Charlie Heaton, he played the Will's brother,
the photographer.
The photographer in Stranger Things. Great actor. And then of course Maisie Williams is Arya Stark in Game of Thrones. And Anya Taylor-Joy was just in the movie Split. But yeah, this is... Oh, and sorry, Heaton is also going to play Sam Guthrie, also known as Cannonball, which we've already seen his power in Deadpool #1, done by Negasonic Teenage Warhead. So how do you guys feel about this? The casting choices and the fact that it seems like Fox is doing more mutants and getting away from the First Class, it looks like.
Although the Dark Phoenix would sort of suggest that they're doing it. It looks like they're doing it as like a 3-pronged attack, or having different part of their production company, different production companies doing each of the separate movies, which makes sense because of the short turnaround on it. Maybe it's instead of like the big tentpole movies that the other companies are doing. They're going for the shotgun approach. Like, we'll throw out as much as we can, and hopefully they'll all stick, and we'll make our money back by not having one huge movie but three smallerish movies.
Yeah. Also, because this is in the Hollywood Reporter article, that Anya Taylor-Joy will be playing Magic, also known as Ilyana Rasputin, and Maisie Williams will play Rain Sinclair, aka Wolfsbane, which that one I have more of a nitpick with, because Maisie Williams is not Scottish, like Rain Sinclair is Scottish and all that. So, but the other one, I mean, Anya Taylor-Joy, I could see her playing Magic in the movie.
Who's actually Colossus's little sister.
Yeah. And just a total badass in the comic books. I mean, got a giant anime style sword that has souls in it, and is in the comics trained by
Mephisto?
Doctor Strange. And Mephisto, she was, at one point more demon than girl. But later on in the comics, she gets trained by Doctor Strange to control the more magic side of her powers.
Now the question is whether Disney will let that be a part of the story. Like, let just loan Cumberbatch for like a scene or two.
Oh, the fans would crap their pants if that happened.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, here's Benedict Cumberbatch. Wait, what?
Well, from a casting standpoint, I'll be honest, my comic book knowledge is less than I would like it to be, but I'm working on catching all that up. But so actually matching them to the characters, I don't know how well I can speak to that, but Charlie Heaton was amazing in Stranger Things.
Yep.
Anya Taylor-Joy was great in Split. Split was a fantastic movie, and all of the actors played really great parts in it. And then Maisie Williams, despite not being Scottish or whatever, I mean, she's Arya Stark. She's got the cachet to be able to do it. So strictly from an actor standpoint, I like the people that they have involved with the project. And what Peter was saying about, the shotgun effect of trying to get as many of these out as possible, and, maybe their marketing. And I sure hope so, because, I think I don't think we're hitting oversaturation. I mean, we've got superheroes everywhere, but I think, at this point, we're still in the more the merrier stage. So, keep them coming and keep, giving us different people and different stories. We don't need, all Superman, all Batman, all Wonder Woman. We can take all the other characters and really get to start to know them too.
Although they might be taking their clue from Deadpool, because they didn't spend a lot of money on it, yet it grossed a whole lot. So that they're not going to have a 200 million movie and hope to make the 200 million back. They'll have like 120 million, 80 million movie. And it's a bit better chance to recoup their investment.
Yeah.
I look at this, and Wolfsbane is Scottish, so I think I was actually right on that.
Yeah.
But I look at this as the other thing that they could easily take from Deadpool is the involvement from the creators of the characters. So New Mutants, done by Chris Claremont. So I could easily see, and these characters were created by him too, by him and Bob McLeod, who did the art for it. So it's like, get them involved in here, because I mean, Chris Claremont's still doing great comic books, and I've heard a lot of people, I think Corey included, who came into X-Men because of Chris Claremont. Chris Claremont, I believe he also did Days of Futures Past, the comic book version. And so, I mean, it's just like, yeah, if they're involved with it, it's like like remotely as much as Rob Liefeld was. You know, because I think Rob Liefeld gave advice when it came to Deadpool. You know, like how, like, what do they think here? But that was mainly because Ryan Reynolds wanted that. You know, it's because he's like, go to the source. Who's the dude who knows this character better? The guy who created the character. So like that's where I look at this. As for the other two, I mean, Deadpool, okay, obviously, because again, you know, they made the first one. It was a big success. Why not do a second one? And then Dark Phoenix, I mean, they sort of did this before with the
3.
with X-Men 3, but X-Men 3 was not the best. I mean, the best part in that for me was the casting of I'm blanking on Kelsey Grammer as Beast, because that's one of them castings. I'm like, yep. I mean, you get one of the most intellectual people. Actually, him and Alan Cummings. I liked both those casting choices for the blue characters in X-Men. But the interesting part is where these are gonna end up. New Mutants is set to come out on April 13th next year. Deadpool is actually going to be in the heart of summer. It's going to be on May 1st. So that also tells me that
June 1st.
Or sorry, June 1st. Yeah. June 1st. So, you know, the kicking off in a lot of ways and going up against, you know, the big tentpole superhero movies, because that's usually where we get a lot of.
That's when Wonder Woman came out this year.
Yeah, that's when Wonder Woman came out. Was it there? And then Dark Phoenix is taking on the Marvel I wish Beat still had the one graphic, but it comes out November 2nd, and that's been where a lot of, like, Thor Ragnarok is going to come out this year in November, and so we'll get probably like Captain Marvel or something like that coming up in that time as well. So that's the other interesting part for me, is where they're putting these out.
Yeah. The other thing that really excited me about this article is they're talking about how this is going to be given a horror thriller bent, the New Mutants. And I think that's a really interesting and good idea. You know, with Deadpool, you had the more adult humor and the superhero that, you know, all of them have a little bit of humor in them, but Deadpool was a comedy for, you know, all intents and purposes. Giving this one the kind of thriller horror is going to be, I think, an interesting take on it. I guess they're probably going to go, obviously, for the R rating, so it's going to be, you know, that more gritty part that people have been saying that they want from some of the superhero movies, without having to put it in things like Avengers and, you know, Captain America and stuff like that. Those can still remain somewhat light, somewhat, you know, family-friendly fun, but then also have this other set with Deadpool. Logan was much more, you know, in the gritty mode, and then, you know, this New Mutants being a horror thriller, I think is an interesting idea for them, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with that.
I'm wondering if the horror comes from Warlock being with them, because if you don't know who Warlock is, and you probably all know who he is, he's an alien sort of Borgish type living circuitry who's broken off from the main his people, and in the New Mutant run, they came and tried to take over humanity and the world. So that might be part of the storyline, although I'm not seeing anything about the story in the article.
Yeah. No, the other interesting part is, because I just looked, and this is according to Wikipedia, where, you know, anyone can edit Wikipedia, but according to the thing, the Dark Phoenix has the best, at least on the Marvel side, the cleanest shot at, you know, dominating the winter, because there's nothing coming out in the fall of 2018
except for the Han Solo movie. but that's like Christmas and practically 2019.
So yeah, because the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they have a big year coming out, or for 2018 as well, because you got Black Panther in the Valentine's Day slot. Avengers: Infinity War comes out in May, on May 4th, Star Wars Day. Ant-Man and the Wasp come out in July, so that's, I believe, going to be, well, no, Deadpool would have been out for about a month then. And then that's it. The next one is Captain Marvel in 2019. So I mean, it's one of those, like, with the exception of the Han Solo movie, there's not really, I don't think, any, geeky movies, like, geeky nerdy movies that are going to be competition for a lot of these movies.
You said that was November of 2018?
Yeah.
November 16th, 2018, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them 2 is set to release.
And thank you for proving me wrong.
When you said that, I'm like, wait, November, that's got to be Fantastic Beasts. It's 2 years later. It's got to be right in that wheelhouse somewhere. So as long as they hit all their production goals and stuff like that. But, that said, it's, that's not a superhero movie. So, it is still kind of as far as the superhero genre goes. But
yeah. And also, I mean, you think about this, you have February, April, like May, June, July, all with a Marvel superhero movie in it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like, oh my god! Like, I'm sitting here thinking, like, we had it with Guardians of the Galaxy in May, and then this month it was Supergirl, Wonder Woman, and then next month it's Spider-Man: Homecoming, and I'm like, wow, this is really fun. Then it's like, oh yeah, hey, that's warm up, son. Get ready for next year, because next year I'm almost gonna live in the movie theaters, going and seeing all these movies.
Although I hope it doesn't get to the point like it is in the comic book things where they'll have, special cover on it. It's only made 1 million of them, so go and get it now. Like having the quantity high, but the quality not so much.
Yeah. Yeah, we're 4 years away from that, 4 or 5 years away from them going, all right, and rebrand time. It's now it's the DC's new 52 in the film universe. And Marvel now. Here's your new Captain America #1 and stuff like that. I hope that joke does not become like at all true.
Although that would be a good excuse to bring Morales in as Spider-Man.
Yeah, definitely.
Which was another thought about what they could do with the Venom movie that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
That instead of having Peter Parker Spider-Man fighting against Venom, they could have the new Spider-Man in it as like have it not as him being the main character, but like a background character as an introduction to him into the world.
Yeah. I mean, that, yeah, I could see that, and that would be really cool. But oh gosh, Shawn, what do you think of that?
Potentially it could be interesting. That's actually one of my problems with comic books, is that it gets difficult to sometimes follow storylines, because all of a sudden you've got 3 different people who are all Spider-Man in 3 different books. And I think we're already starting to see some of that when we look at the DC side. Between the TV and the movie stuff, you've got 2 different actors playing the Flash from TV and the movies. And now if, Barry Allen kind of moves on from the Flash TV show as the main character and it focuses more on Wally West, you're going to have 1 Flash in the movies, 1 Flash on TV. So to me, that would be a detriment, but I understand where a lot of people would like to see that variety of, the different Spider-Men or the different characters and things like that all are the same superhero, but are slightly variation.
Well, the CU universe is really handling that good with the multiverse. They just, there's multiple places where there's different people. Everything is okay.
Oh, yeah.
and once again, getting back to I watch Emergency Awesome. The Charlie there says there's no way that Grant Gustin's not going to be on the TV show next year. They'll just figure out another way of him coming back, because in the comics that's happened too, that Barry's disappeared for 20 years and then all of a sudden he emerges from the Speed Force, coming back after Wally's been the Flash for 20 years.
And coincidentally enough, they did the reverse of that recently with Rebirth. It was because Flash, he was gone from Crisis on Infinite Earths to Final Crisis, I believe, is when he came back. And for the New 52, they totally redid it where everyone's like, okay, the newer comic book fans were accepting of the reality of, okay, this is a different world. I don't have to really know all that history, except they'll tell me that history that is needed. And then Rebirth was essentially, that Final Crisis where, hey, here's Wally West, the white Wally West, the one who was the Flash for 20 years, when a lot of people read comic books, and was actually the basis of the Flash for Justice League on the cartoon show, doing all basically coming back just like Barry Allen did. And we even saw that with Jay Garrick. Well, no, Jay Garrick in the comic books recently too. He just did the same thing. But it didn't have the right effect because he's sitting there going, "Remember me," and that was from the button that they just did in the comic books. But no, so all in all, I look at these and I think it is really good. I think this is, the Deadpool one, obvious. The New Mutants, I'm excited because I had been screaming, well, not literally, but I've been wishing this to happen for the longest time since they rebooted and did X-Men First Class. And it's like, oh, well, here's our new Professor Xavier. Okay, cool. That's sort of going to happen. And then Beast and all these other characters, like, you do know there's other characters. Like, you do know, like, Colossus didn't get a lot of screen time in the original trilogy. Kitty Pryde, X-23. There's all these other ones that I gravitated towards, just from reading the Marvel Wikipedias, the Marvel wikis that they got out there of the history. I'm like, oh, this character sounds so cool. Oh, but they're not, Jean Grey, Scott Summers, Logan.
Because this gets back to the movie producers goes, see, this is what you do to get a big good movie. You gotta have stars. 1 star, that's good. You don't want to confuse the people. They're kind of stupid. You do one guy and him and him and him, 18 movies until he says, hey man, I'm gone. Okay, we gotta find a new Wolverine. Little girl, okay, we can handle that. because like Deadpool, it was the first movie where the people making it says, no, you're not coming in and saying, okay, yeah, we love these stories. Okay, we're throwing 90% of it out and just keeping 1%, and that'll be a great movie. The comic book people would like it. What Ryan Reynolds and the rest of them says, no, this is how it goes. This is how the comic book goes. We're gonna have it be true and not just like those real life stories based on true events and like nothing's like it was. They're going, the comics had it like this, we're gonna have it like that. We're not gonna just think, oh, that's shiny, let's look at that all the time and leave everything go its own way.
Yeah. All right, so the next story is one that ties into a movie that came out last week, I believe,
or today.
Okay, yeah, sorry, this week. And it is, the movie that I'm referring to is The Mummy, and it's this setup for the big new, the Universal Monsters universe that is going to be happening. And so it looks like, I guess the next movie is going to be titled The Bride of Frankenstein, but that's not the big thing that I'm wanting to hit at. And that is that they've added more creatures, and more in this Universal area or Universal Monsters area. They're adding the Phantom of the Opera and the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Now this comes off. Hasn't been any casting for these characters, but this comes off of Johnny Depp being cast as the Invisible Man. Javier Bardem is cast as
The monster.
as Frankenstein's monster, or Frankenstein's monster for the German people out there. And so I'm hearing this, I get excited. But then I think, Peter, you brought it up in pre-show that the Mummy movie hasn't gotten the best reviews.
No. And also to mention that what's his face, Gladiator guy. He's playing he's playing Dr. Hyde, I believe, in the movie.
Okay.
So he's like your Professor Xavier to all the monsters, I guess. But yeah, so what was the question?
So I haven't really got to the question yet. I mean, it's just, so what do you think about this? I mean, we can hit on the Mummy, but even the extended, with this whole Universal Monsters, the Dark Universe thing. What do you think about this as something as the next cinematic universe that's going to be coming out here?
Well, I think for me, the thing that I want to know is why. Why do we need this? I understand the DC universe. You've got your crossovers and you've got your Justice League. Marvel, you've got your you got your Avengers, your Harry Potter universe, you've got now Fantastic Beasts and stuff like that. What exactly are they going to do that is going to necessitate all of these people being in the same universe? I almost get a really bad, like, we're going to get Abbott and Costello meet, Frankenstein.
That was going to be my joke. That was the main thing. There's going to be a bad boy.
It just smacks of a bad Scooby-Doo episode or something. And I don't understand why we need this. Redoing all these movies, making a Hunchback of Notre Dame that is scary, gritty, edgy, whatever, I'm for that. But why does it have to exist in the same universe as the Mummy and the Invisible Man and things like that? Why can't we just have these things be standalone?
I think the reason was they wanted to do the like the whole Universal Monsters thing where they're you got like the creature from Black Lagoon fighting Frankenstein's monster, and and different things like that, like and fighting the werewolf and fighting like they wanted that. And so how do you do that? Well, take a page out of Marvel's book and do a whole shared universe there, and to where they're you're getting it going that way.
It's not bad Scooby-Doo, it's bad Godzilla then. So
yeah.
But maybe they should have taken 2 pages from the Marvel playbook and have like a grand story arc for all the movies together, and not just, well, we're going to do it, okay, and then we'll bring this in. And what they could have done without announcing this dark universe is do like what they did with the Shyamalan's movies. Like at the end of Split, you find out, oh, it's in the same place as Unbreakable. Have the Mummy as itself, and then have the Invisible Man, and then Frankenstein, and then in the end of the Frankenstein, have the Mummy or someone from the Mummy show up and find out that after 6 hours of movie, oh, it's all in the same place, rather than telling you right at the beginning, it's all in the same universe type of thing.
Yeah,
it seems very artificial to do it this way, that we're doing it as a universe because that's the cool hip thing to do right now. So that's what we're going to do.
No, it definitely does. It definitely does have that screaming of, well, hey, what's the big thing right now? Because I mean, even in the comic book side of things, Valiant is doing a shared universe. but with that, it does seem like it's more their big hitters are going to be on the big screen, and then like some of their other smaller titles are going to be on like TV, or even some of it was like the web. Like I think they were working on a Ninjak movie with Jason David Green, Jason David Frank, the original Green Power Ranger, as in one of the roles there. But I mean, yeah, I agree with you guys. I do think this is like even with doing how they're excuse me, how they're doing with the Mummy, where you have Russell Crowe playing Dr. Jekyll. That to me screams like, okay, cool. That's how you do it, not have all the trailers. And I've only seen one trailer. I've seen one trailer, and then I've seen 2 TV spots where the TV spots they do, and I was mentioning this, they were on Comedy Central. They actually they had the various actors reading the script, like verbatim, including these stage notes. And that part was cool. But I've seen the same trailer of, oh, Tom Cruise finds finds this tomb, apparently the sand got so crazy over in Egypt where it covered up I can't think of the name of that. The Sphinx. Yeah, the thing with the face and the lion body.
Yeah, the Sphinx.
The Sphinx. And we go in here and there's a tomb, and we're gonna take this tomb back, and helicopter or plane, he dies, and wait, he's not dead. I've seen that trailer like at every movie that I've gone and seen that wasn't Marvel. And I'm like, there's other trailers, right? Like, it's not like there's other ones out. They're just not doing a whatever that Tarzan movie was that had Sam Jackson. Yeah, where it's just like, okay, we're gonna show you show you the best footage from the movie to make the trailer. Sort of deal.
Maybe they'll just tie them all together by having Tom Cruise run through every movie.
That's the through line. You're just gonna have Nick Morton all the way through. I'm like, oh my god, that's my face. It's like, what does the dude have your face? What about your face? But I don't know. I guess final thoughts on that. Are you excited for the Mummy? Are you wanting to go see it?
Probably not. I'll wait for it to be on Netflix.
Yeah, same here. I'll wait for it. It's I like these kinds of movies, but just the reviews have me scared at the moment. So
yeah, no, same here. This is like I got scared off with Ghost in the Shell and a few other movies where it's like, yeah, I'm really excited for this movie, and then I just hear the reviews and I'm like, yeah, when does it come out on DVD?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, that is going to do it for the news. And real quick, for the people listening, you guys got a little extra time on your hands? Do you want some experience as a social media manager? Well, we're looking for you. The Galactic Network is in search for someone to help us step up our Facebook /Twitter /Instagram /Patreon game. And did we forget to mention that this position pays the wonderful salary of nothing? But if you have the passion for community building, are into sci-fi, horror, gaming, comic books, the paranormal, and similar topics, we'd love to hear from you. You can email us at contact@gncasts, that's GNCASTS.com. Dave said I had to read that, so I read it.
Other positions like that would make you pay them $100 a week. Here, you save $100 by doing it for us.
Exactly.
How's that for a throw for it?
That's honestly what I thought when I heard you do that announcer voice earlier. I'm like, can I get Peter to read this? All right. Well, this is the ElseViews. This is the time of the show where we talk about the different things that we have been playing, watching, listening, or planning on listening to, because Peter told me about his nerding out. But as to not be greedy, let's start out with Shawn. Shawn, what are you I hear you're into politics. Is that what I'm going to guess by your pick here?
No, it's not really politics. It's, I try to stay as far away from that as possible. No, I'm working on a new history podcast that I'm going to start to release towards the end of the summer. And part of the preparation for that was doing some research, listening to other history podcasts so that I don't come off sounding too similar, or, also get a feel for what people are putting in their history podcasts. And I came across a great show that I wanted to share with people, and it's called Our Fake History. And the tagline on it is a podcast about myths we think are history, and history that might be hidden in myths. Awesome stories that really maybe happened. The host of the show is named Sebastian Major. He's a history teacher, and he's got a great personality about him. It's a one mic show, and he just does a really good job of telling interesting stories. They've done episodes on Billy the Kid and Atlantis, the Trojan War. Sorry, can't even read my own handwriting there. Oh, the Minotaur. So, was the Minotaur real? Was the Minotaur real so much as was the labyrinth a real place? And he just has a really cool take on a lot of different things, and it's a very interesting show, and it's family friendly. My 6-year-old has taken to every time we get in the car asking me to put on Our Fake History, so it's something the two of us can listen to together. There's a lot of great podcasts out there right now. The true crime thing is just like through the roof, but those tend not to be something that you can listen to with your kids. And Our Fake History is definitely one. And it's part of the Dark Myths Collective. So there's a lot of other podcasts that are in a kind of like a podcast community with them. And that's kind of how I found them. But I would just recommend people. I'm binge listening to it right now. And it's a lot of fun and very informative. So, kudos to Sebastian for a great podcast. And it's at ourfakehistory.com, or just look up Our Fake History on your favorite podcatcher.
No, that sounds really cool. I mean, it sounds like, as someone who I listen to podcasts a lot of time when I'm at work, because God, that picture gets me every time. The picture behind me for the audio listeners, I'm going through just doing a circle of all the old different headshots or the thumbnail images that we've had for the show. And there's one of me with my Samsung Gear VR on my head. I'm like, picture. But anyways, I tend to listen to quite a bit of podcasts, and this reminded me of a show like No Such Thing as a Fish, but instead of like the interesting facts, that you almost couldn't believe to be true, it's like the exact opposite of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like to use it in the internet culture, it would be like everyone says, that Shazam, or that Sinbad movie called Kazam or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It was, everyone's like, yeah, I swear I remember seeing this show. And I'm like, okay, sure, cool. Tell us more about this movie that you watched, because I mean, I remember Sinbad just dressing like a genie, not being a genie, and stuff like that. But no, I this sounds really cool, and I actually am really excited. I think I might check this out myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Peter, you have your pick. What did you bring forth to us?
Is the new album coming up from Big Bad Voodoo Daddy, which is they did this before with, darn it, I forget, the hi guy, Cab Calloway. They did a whole album of Cab Calloway covers. This one, they're doing it covers of 3 different people, all with the name Louie. So the album's name is Louie Louie Louie, which is the band's 11th studio album, and a salute to the music of Louis Armstrong, Louis Jordan, and Louis Prima. And it's coming out next Friday. And I've got it pre-ordered from iTunes, but you can also get it on Amazon and anywhere else the music is sold. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, so the Cab Calloway one was How Big Can You Get? And that was like 4 years ago. So
Yeah.
this is, so they've got, let's see, where is it? And if you pre-order now from iTunes, you get three of the songs from the album ahead of time. Dinah, O Marie, and Whistle Stop, which is basically one song from each of the Louies.
Nice. No, yeah, that's cool. You mentioned this before on the after show, I believe, for the Wonder Woman one, and this is going back before I started listening to Coverville, but I've enjoyed covers. I got friends who are like, "Oh, I don't like covers at all," and it's like with hanging out and listening to Coverville, it's like, well, you realize that song that you do like is a cover, and and stuff like that, like. So it's like hearing this and I've heard Big Bad Voodoo Daddy before. So it's like to hear, like, I always love hearing those different styles of music, like musicians covering, songs that aren't in their, what you'd consider in their genre, and bringing it in, or them going to that genre. And so I'm excited for this.
Gregor, are you telling me that somebody before Tiffany did I Think We're Alone Now? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Possibly.
And actually, going back to our pre-show discussion, one of the Hooters songs, She Comes in Colors, is actually a cover too. I didn't know that until about 5 years ago when I was at the local record store and go, I know this song. Wait, who's singing that? Oh yeah, this is from the 60s. Oh, I did not know. I always thought it had been an original.
Yeah, I didn't know that one either.
No, the first time I actually came across this, and this is showing my age. When I was a kid, it was, I think Alabama did their original version of a song that was later covered by the Backstreet Boys. It was like one of the Backstreet Boys' first hits, and I'm like, wait, this is Backstreet Boys. And I'm like, like 12 or something at this time, and I'm like, why is this country station playing pop music but not with the singers? And then someone said, well, that's a cover. I'm like, this is the original version. I'm like, oh, okay, can we play the Backstreet Boys version? But yeah, that again just shows how young I am at times.
That happened yesterday on Facebook. Someone put up the Scissor Sisters song, I Don't Feel Like Dancing, and I had to put in the Hasty Dixie cover because I think it's a superior song in every way.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Say a superior rendition because it's the same song. But I mean, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's one of the things, like, I've actually because for the longest time, like instead of just being like, okay, I listen to all music, I was like, all right, I'm gonna listen to Christian music, and I'm like, wait, these are covers of mainstream music songs done by these artists that I like. So I have a playlist that I call Nothing But Covers, and it's just bands that I'm like, that I've listened to, and then just like, oh, here's their version. Like, one of my favorites is a band called House of Heroes, and they have an EP called House of Heroes Meets the Beatles, where it's just a 3-song EP, and they cover like songs like Obla Di Obla Da. I wish I remembered the other two. There's 2 other ones that are all really good, and I'm like, wow, this is great. Like, so it's not to say like I prefer them over the Beatles, because I feel like if I said that, then all of a sudden Paul McCartney would come up from behind me, be like, you don't mean that, and just break my neck or whatever. But it's like it's cool to hear these in different versions, like to hear especially some songs that were done so great from great musicians like the Beatles. So yeah, I'm like again, I'm really excited for this. I'm definitely gonna check it out. I brought a game for you guys that is a lot of time, like, in all honesty, along the lines of what Shawn has, where it's one of these games where you can sit down and you can play with it. I actually talked about this earlier at work for a guy because he's like, okay, here's my thing. I don't like the internet where I'm at sucks. He's basically using his phone for his internet, for his Xbox, and he has, you know, two boys, and they want to play games. They want to play 2-player games, and so he's like, well, what do you recommend that doesn't require internet? And I'm like, sports games, racing games. And then I'm like, oh, there's a game out right now that's free on Xbox Live if you free on Xbox Live if you have Xbox Live with their games with gold. It's called SpeedRunners. So what it is a platformer game where you are playing as one of 4 people on the screen, and the object of the game is to be the last one still running. There are power-ups, like there's a freeze ray, there's a golden grapple, where you use that and it goes and grabs the person ahead of you and pulls them behind, and you take their momentum. There's a giant lava boulder that if you hit all 3 people ahead of you, it says strike. I'm like, yeah. There's all these other like little power-ups that are so fun and so cool, and they have simple ways of that you can defeat it, you know, in like rock paper scissors style. You know, I played through their story. There's a very loose story. It's more like just to get you familiar with the arenas to where so you could get on and do multiplayer or do, you know, with your friends, you know, local co-op. Because this is one of the few games where you don't need split screen, because, you know, you're just staying on the screen as long as you possibly can. As soon as you hit the edge, boom, you're dead, and all that. And it's fun. It's simple. Like, you know, you're going around like in a circle, like, you know, and counterclockwise for a lot of times. But it never feels boring. You're sitting there looking as you're running, like, okay, could I get here? Could I get okay, if I get here right, I'm far enough ahead that I can cut through and then just wipe them out. And it's a small little independent game. Like, originally it's $15. It's made by Double Dutch Games, and there's another group that they teamed up with that I cannot think of their name right now. But it's a fun, so fun, like little game here that just you just sit there, have fun, you know, just sit there, run around. Like, easily a game you could play at a party, you know, with friends, and be like, and you know, just passing the controllers around, like, all right, here you go. I lost here. You could be the speed runner or Buck or like or no Buckshot, or the characters are so funny. There's one called the Falcon. It's the villain from Toy Story 2. It's Al from Al's Barn dressed in the chicken outfit. But yeah, that is my pick that I bring to you guys.
Cool.
So that is it for. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say I have no comment for it because I got a PS4. So anyway.
It might be on PS4 too. I just know it. I just know because it was one of those. Like, I got an Xbox One 2 months ago now, and have been playing it, like, you know, getting caught up, like I'm dumb and was like, okay, my PC won't play the games that I want, so I need to play games, and just catching up. Like, I've been playing through Assassin's Creed Syndicate, playing through WWE 2K17. Still have, like, you know, like 4 other, you know, 100-minute or 100-hour games to go. And then the cool thing, because I think PlayStation does a similar thing where they have the free games
every month.
Every month. And so this one was just one that they did for, you know, like, because Microsoft does it like every 2 weeks. They'll flip out something. Like, I heard coming up or later this month is Watch Dogs, actually. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And because, you know, I've been wanting to play Watch Dogs, but I don't necessarily know if I want to spend $20 on it. And so this is, you know, it's one of those. It's a great way to experience games, you know, new games that are out there. Even some of the Xbox 360 games, because, I mean, you could luck out and like, oh, I had this game on Xbox 360, but because it doesn't have that true backwards compatibility, or you got to spend, you know, like the $5 or whatever it is to buy it. It's like, well, okay, I guess I won't do that. Now it's like, do it.
And I looked, and it is available on PS4 too.
Yeah.
And the thing about the PSN is that free game, you can download it to your library, and it's free forever.
Yes.
It's
I
not
believe
like
it's the
just a
same.
month. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it's the same with the Xbox. The Xbox does something else. I don't know if PlayStation does this too, but they'll do like free play weekends. So you could like they did the late not Wildlands, but the latest Tom Clancy game before that, what is it, The Division.
Yeah.
That was like a free play weekend. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm not going to do that because then I'm going to want to go buy the game.
They did that with Overwatch last week too, but that was
Yeah.
an Overwatch weekend. It's on PC, on both consoles. So
Yeah.
Now, Peter, you've got a PlayStation. Have you tried out PlayStation Now by any chance?
which one is
That's the streaming service that they have where you can stream the games. You get a library of like 500 for $20 a month.
No. I'm sort of keeping my expenditures low as possible. I do have the PSN, the yearly thing, and but and most of the games I download are waiting in my library. I haven't even bothered playing with them because I keep on playing Shadow of Mordor. and
I seem to only play Diablo or NHL, so that's all I ever do. But the PlayStation Now is interesting. It's a lot of PS3 games. They even added like a bunch of Sega games. Me and my son were playing Golden Axe the other day.
Nice.
Needs food.
It's kind of a fun little throwback. I don't know that I'll keep it past the summer. But it'll be fun to, play some of those old games with the kids. And, and I've got a 6-year-old and they just added like all of the Lego games just about to it. So he sits and plays those. And, so I mean, I like it for $20 a month, but I don't know that I'd necessarily keep it past the summer when the kids are back in school and not playing as much. So,
Yeah. That I think Microsoft just did the similar thing with it was like Xbox Live Pass or whatever. Like I know some companies like EA has the EA access where for like $40 a year you get a lot of the games for free, or if you get it right away you get it for a discount. Like you can get all the 2017 sport games right now, and then you can get like I believe it's 10% off of Madden 18, the ultimate Tom Brady, a slightly deflated edition or whatever it is.
and boom, you go.
Yeah. But I'm in that similar problem that you are, Peter, where it's like, oh yeah, I want to go play the game. Like I'm probably almost done with Assassin's Creed Syndicate, but I'm like, I don't know if I really want to play that right now. WWE, wrestling, playing as my guy who looks nothing like me and looks a little bit like Cody Rhodes in a way, and just going up and being the Authority's bitch and doing all the Authority challenges and unlocking all the wrestlers and stuff like that. It's like, yay. And then downloading the arenas because the downloaded part's actually really, really good, except for one person made the Raw arena outside. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? But yeah, that's a separate show. That's another topic I could talk about forever. So we're gonna go on to the ElseWords, but before we do, I want to let you guys know that you can help support the show or help us out. Do like our hosts do a lot of times and donate money to our Patreon. Patreon.com/galacticnetcast, I believe is the website, or gncast.com/support. It's a monthly charge. You can do $1 a month at the lowest and help us out, help us keep the lights on, help us keep the streams going and stuff like that. This is the other part why it took so long, is because Sean's internet has been cutting out. So if you support, we can get Sean good internet. It's a promise I cannot keep.
Offer may be void in your area.
So the ElseWords this week, this is our main topic of the show. This is we're going to talk about some real fake bands and some fake real bands. This is all brought on because of a vulture.com article that Corey actually Corey submitted in the ElseNerds Slack channel, and I watched this. I'm like, oh, this is really funny. Hey, and I'm like, B, do me a favor, put that in the doc because I can't put in the doc when I'm at work. And so I did, and I haven't even seen the music video yet. I only saw the part with the drums. But basically, so this is Fred Armisen, Adam Paley, and Zoe Lister-Jones have a band, and now that band has a music video. It's all set in this like other world. It's through IFC Films, who did the distribution for this.
Well, it's basically Zoe Lister-Jones was the director of the movie, and it's about a couple that fight all the time, and they figure, wait, instead of fighting, let's write songs about the fight and put them out, and we'll be a successful band. So they do that, and they get their next door neighbor, who's played by Fred Armisen from Saturday Night Live and the Portlandia, but he's also the band leader for Seth Meyers' band on the Late Late Show or whatever it's called. And the video is basically an interview of the two leads about the movie, and then it goes into the filming of their video, where everything is like Pepto-Bismol pink, and how Fred Armisen wants his drum kit closer to the camera and the other two farther back, and the fight between them doing him being the center of attention and them actually doing the video. So I didn't watch the whole thing, but that I saw like the beginning and figured about that. Yeah.
No, it's cool. And the cool part is with this, and I think will probably be what we'll focus in on, is this is both a fake band and a real band. This in real life, the Dirty Dishes are also a band featuring Lister-Jones on bass, Adam Paley on guitar, and Fred Armisen on the sticks, as the article puts it. And they have a real EP streaming anywhere you like to stream music. And now they have a real good music video, which, as you said, Lister-Jones directed. It's so I know of a few fake bands. I will start with the one that everyone will probably think of and would yell at me if I didn't say, and that is of course the band on MTV Together. No, I'm joking. That's Spinal Tap is one I would mention first.
You know, there's this fine line between clever and stupid.
I crossed it a while back ago. I know.
You don't want to go raga. No.
But so I mean, I had a part way I was going to go with this, but it sort of fell apart. But I mean, so like, how like, what do you guys think of the whole fake band, real band, like fake band becoming a real band thing?
Well, I mean, for me, like my very first concert that I ever went to was a 1984, I guess it was, and it was the headlining act was the Monkees. There's your original fake band becomes a real band sort of thing. They were a lot more talented, I think, than people give them credit for. But I'm going to just leave that at that before I get too far down the Monkees love exchange there. But it's I always enjoyed their music, and I thought that they were probably, I mean, I don't know anybody before them that kind of did this.
Well, there was like about the same time there was the Danny Bonaducci and the Partridge Family.
Yeah, the Partridge Family.
And Brady Bunch had their Brady Bunch band.
Yeah. We got to raise money for the silver platter for mom and dad's anniversary present.
And then there was like the Archies and Josie and the Pussycats.
Mm-hmm.
And then Gem and the Holograms.
Yeah.
And I know in the 90s there was one called The Heights. They had like one song and they were like a Fox show or something like that.
Oh, the how do you talk to an angel or something like that? It was like the guy was playing a boyfriend of not Terry Garr, but the blonde from the original 90210. At some point, he
Oh.
was like a gardener, and they well anyway like that, and well what was that? The one with Michael Pare in it, the one Eddie and the Cruisers,
Oh yeah.
and going along with the Spinal Tap, you've got the Kingsman, no the Kingsman, the Folksman from A Mighty Wind, and that also gives you Mickey and Mitch, and the new Main Street Singers, and what was the can't remember any of the other groups on that. And then you've got like I don't know, there's tons of there was a Beatles sort of parody group, and they're not the B Sharps, because that was Simpsons.
And there was also the Beat Alls in the Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah. Was it I don't know, but yeah, it's a big thing, meme, I guess you might call it, of things having fake bands and people actually liking what they did and actually going out and doing real gigs.
Yeah, one of the things that actually surprised me that it hasn't happened yet is watching Talking with Chris Hardwick, the episode that they had with James Corden, and him talking. And I knew from, because I watch a lot of English TV to begin with, but hearing him talk about being in school, being in, essentially high school, like middle school and high school, and with his friends, and his love for boy bands, like where he created like 7 different bands all throughout school, where the first band, they're just like, yeah, so have you heard of, whatever the name of the band was? Yeah, that's me. And they never even performed and stuff like that. And then some of the other band names they came up with just for the title, just for the fact that it was like a catchy title or whatever, to do like associated with them. And like, so it's like I'm surprised we wouldn't see and I used Together earlier, but like MTV doing another thing like that, where you've got this fake, this fake band coming up, and then they start touring in real life, and then the one host or one of the guys goes out to be the host of CMT's music countdown and stuff like that.
Or they become Flight of the Conchords.
Yes, and later go on to direct Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, but we're having a lot of band meetings.
Oh yes.
You've got the wrong type of pants on. You're gonna rip your pants, and when you come back from being a werewolf, you're gonna be naked. I told you, tear away pants.
Oh man. Oh, this is great. Oh, you went from Flight to What We Do in the Shadows. That was great. I'm sort of waiting for you to go to Rex next. Just hitting the full Reese Darby filmography.
Yeah, or Voltron.
Yeah, or Voltron. I don't know. Mainly, I sort of want to bullshit with that, because the whole thing, because like the video is really cool, and it's, I mean, Fred Armisen's been in like 50 bands, I think, by himself, and and it did, watching the video, it did scream like like a segment from Portlandia, especially with him going, no, I want to be up at the front. I want to be at the front. It's like, it's almost like he's just going, like, yeah, do you see these symbols here? These were used on Pet Sounds. And stuff like that. But yeah, so we can hang out a little bit later, but I want to thank you guys. I want to thank Shawn for coming in and guest hosting with me. And where can people find you?
The best place to find me right now is on Twitter at SBurnsPA.
That's SBurnsPA at Twitter. And Peter, what do you got to plug here, man? I mean, you got free ample time to plug stuff.
Yeah, well, I haven't been done it in the last couple weekends, but on Sundays I do a thing I call the Joy of Image Manipulation, where I take pictures and make them into different things. I've done. I took a picture of a train and made it look like it was from the 1930s, and I've turned a cat into a vampire cat, and I've made a propaganda photo of Jury and him and Diamond Club's bid to take over the world, with a map in the background, and the, like I said, called Joy of Image Manipulation. It's a YouTube channel. It's under my name, Peter Fisher. If you want to look for it, I'm to tell the truth, the biggest video I have has 6 views on it, so it's YouTube's not knocking down my door to give me a
check or a takedown
notice, check or the link, a special link that you go, just go to Joy of Image Manipulation and you're there. And but that's one thing. Also, if you're going to be at Nerdtacular in the Utah in a month or even less, we're gonna do what we've been doing for the last 3 of them, since Scott hasn't done an official movie. I think the last one was Brave that we saw, that was an official Nerdtacular event. The Sunday after Nerdtacular, a bunch of us are going to go down to the valley and see a movie all together. So look in the Tadpool group on Facebook, or there's a thing going on in the Extra Life forums too about it. So look for this face at Nerdtacular, or look in the places on the internet and find out where and when we're going. And you can also find me on Twitter at Tina_podcast, which is a podcast I'll eventually do at some point once I get around to figuring out how I can do either a improv podcast by myself, or find someone that wants to go with me. And we're also in development for another podcast with my old co-host from I'd App that was on Blazing Caribou, Stacy Baldwin and Reese Dunlap, and that's also in development. Heck, but oh wait, it said we can swear liberally.
Yes.
Is that right, or can we swear conservatively as well? For equal time.
I tend to follow the BBC rules. You can, if you swear at liberals, we then have to swear at conservatives, and then we then have to swear at the Green Party, and
okay,
no one gives a fuck about the libertarians.
So then it's in development hell. Oh, that felt good to say. Yeah, it's in development hell, but we'll eventually get it out at some point. But that's basically what I have to say, and that is and was to and all is.
Nice. So real quick, you can contact us by leaving us a voicemail at 805-328-3966, or you can email us mail@ElseNerds.com. I will read or listen to all of that if we get it. And all of our subscription options and links can be found over at gncasts.com/subscribe. And you can find our Facebook page, facebook.com/galacticnetcast. Come join the conversation over there. Excuse me. You can follow the show on Twitter or the network at ElseNerds, at Galactic Netcasts. And you can follow our producers, who are both off on assignments or sleeping, at Beatmaster80 and at Mr_Fusion. You can find me at that Gregor. You can find all of Corey's things over at don'taskcomics.com. And the final thing to be said is this has been a Don't Tell Glenn production. We will see you guys next time.
Or else.
Now, does Mr. Fusion get you 6.8 gigawatts?
Actually, yes. Yes, he does.
Good.
Yeah, that's Evan Rockty for you, for the folks not knowing who is who and who. Knowing who is who and who knowing who is who and who knowing who is who and who